We acknowledge the traditional owners of this land on which the Women's College and the University of Queensland stand, the Turrbal and Yagara people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening today. We recognise their deep connection to land, waters and culture and honour their continuing legacy of storytelling and knowledge sharing. Welcome to The Voice of Influence, a podcast brought to you by the Women's College within the University of Queensland. I'm your host and producer, Sarah Pearce. Our episodes aim to empower young women by addressing the unique challenges and opportunities of young adulthood. Tune in for insightful conversations with diverse guest speakers who offer advice and inspiring stories to help navigate young adulthood. So today I am excited to welcome Alison Kubler, a passionate advocate, curator and writer whose commitment to empowering women extends far beyond the art world. Alison is a standing member of the Second Chance program, a Queensland-based charity that supports homeless and at-risk women and children. Through her involvement, Alison has played a key role in raising awareness of the growing homelessness crisis among women, using her platform and experience to spark meaningful conversations about equality, safety, and community care. Alongside her advocacy work, Alison is an accomplished arts professional, editor of Vault, Australian Art and Culture magazine, a former council member of the National Gallery of Australia, and a respected voice in Australia's cultural sector. Alison also has her own consultancy. In today's episode, we'll be diving into Alison's work with the Second Chance program, exploring the challenges women face in finding safe housing and the importance of community-driven support, and how we can all play a role in creating a fairer, more compassionate society. I'm so grateful to have her here today to share her experiences and insights, so welcome, Alison. Thank you for being here. Let's just dive right in. So you're a standing member of the Second Chance program, which is such an important organisation supporting homeless and at-risk women and children. For listeners who might not know much about it, can you share what the Second Chance program actually does and why its mission matters so much?
Yeah, so Second Chance was set up 25 years ago. So we're marking our 25th anniversary this year, which is sort of bittersweet because one would like to think that 25 years later you don't need support like that.
Yeah.
In fact, the need has grown.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing and a bad thing. But it was set up 25 years ago by Marjorie Morton and the late and great feminist Dale Spender.
Oh, wow.
Who came together and recognised that there was a homelessness problem for women.
Yeah.
But it was under-recognised.
Yeah.
And, you know, Marjorie is in her 80s now, but she's still an active member of Second Chance. The thing that's important about Second Chance is that it's completely volunteer. So there's only 6 of us who are on the committee, and all of us have full-time work. We are 100% volunteers. So, which means that 100% of everything we raise goes to the charities that we support. So 25 years ago, Marjorie and Dale recognised that women were experiencing homelessness for much the same reason that they are now. It's, you know, often domestic violence, but also simple things where, you know, women don't often have access to superannuation because they've been mothers, carers, so they haven't had jobs and don't have super, and then they have a marriage separation or something happens and they don't have funds. So a lot of women couch surf or become homeless. Yeah. But the interesting thing that they when you talk to Marjorie, she remembers going to different fundraising opportunities, and you'd go to businessmen and say, women are experiencing homelessness, and they'd say, well, you don't see it, and it's probably still the case today that when you see like food trucks on the street at night, women don't identify themselves as being homeless or alone because it's too dangerous. Yeah, and those things haven't really changed. So a lot of women aren't accessing services because they are vulnerable. And once you show yourself to be alone, if you're living on the street, it changes things for a lot of women. So it's been an interesting process. What Marjorie and Dale did in that early 25 years ago was to say we will raise funds to support existing agencies.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite important because we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We recognize there are really great charities out there doing excellent work. And rather than replicate what they are doing, because they've already put so much work and infrastructure into it, we raise money to support those agencies. And so we support around 20 different people. But we'll do everything from Anglicare through to TransLink passes so people can catch the bus to work. Or Woolworths vouchers. It's a real range. It's where the need is where what we raise.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah. It's just practical. I think that's what I was attracted to. And I think for a lot of people, you know, you feel a little bit paralyzed. I have a very lucky life. I had great fortune. I have a job. I have security. But, you know, everyone's fortunes can change.
No, exactly.
Very quickly. And I think also for a lot of us, we feel we don't have the time to volunteer. And, you know, and we know there's proof and studies, data to suggest that volunteering has really dropped. People aren't volunteering. And I understand it. We are incredibly time poor. People are getting more and more time poor. And I feel like there's a real, I think I had anxiety around that myself. And I think what I have learned about Second Chance is that being altruistic in whatever capacity you can is really healing. It's really good for you. You know, and I think I try to get my kids involved and just explain to them that just the smallest thing you can do in an altruistic capacity is very good for you as a human being.
No, I love that view on it because I know, especially with my friends at Women's, we want to give back and we want to help people that are less fortunate than us. We are so lucky to be where we are, living in the place that we are and studying university. That's an option that a lot of people don't get because of disadvantages that they've had earlier in their life. And we are all so grateful to be where we are, that we want to give back, but at the same time, we're all 20-year-old uni students who can barely afford to buy anything for themselves. So
and you get it because the cost of music. And I reflect on when I was at college. Wow, I mean, I just know what it costs my daughters to run their cars. It's so expensive. And I think that those are the very simple things. So I guess what I try to say to a lot of people who say, well, I don't have money to give to charity, I'm like, but you can do it in different ways. And sometimes it's as simple as, you know, buying a Woolworths voucher. Or something really simple, like a simple need that one of the things that we do, we don't really take goods as such, like we don't take items. We don't like people who just do that. But what we do is go to schools and we do like a drive at a school and we'll say, we need 200 toasters, 200 kettles, 200 sets of white sheets. Because what we find in terms of helping homeless women and children is that most often women will have to leave in the middle of the night and leave everything behind, every single thing behind, and they need to start again. And so we make up these sort of capsule kits that have just the stuff you need.
The essentials,
The essentials. And then the great thing about a voucher is it means women can choose what they need for themselves. So they're not relying on charity like someone's chosen the clothes for their children. We recognize that people want to have agency to be able to choose what they want and what they need because everyone's needs are different. So as I said, you know, we just try to work with the right agencies and give them what they need. And sometimes they'll call us and say, a woman and her daughter need to have dental work done. And they're like, well, we can help with that. We've got the monies. Let us help pay for the dental work.
No, I think that's really beautiful. Perfect. All right, second question. You've had this incredible career across art, curation and culture, but I'd love to hear what drew you to get involved with the Second Chance in the first place. Was there a particular moment or experience that made you want to take action for women and children in this crisis?
Yes, that's a very good question. I had always sort of been on the periphery of knowing about Second Chance. And then Kathleen Noonan, who is our president, who's an extraordinary journalist, she asked me to come and be an MC at a lunch. And I do a lot of that professionally myself. And she asked me to come and interview the actor Marta Dusseldorf, who as part of her Second Chance fundraising lunch. And that's when I sort of really saw what they did for myself. I was able to see the network that had been created. And I just was so astounded that these two women had just set this up. And that was probably the eye-opener for me. And then I joined, so that's got to be about 7, maybe more years ago now, maybe more, like coming up to 8, 9. And I just joined the committee then because I thought I know that I can use the connections that I have within the arts and cultural world to help in that capacity to raise monies. And that was really, I find that there's a lot of charities out there, which is not to diss any of them, but you know how you always get asked to go on a fun run or, and I kind of hate that so many resources are wasted on buying a T-shirt and buying a cap and, and those companies, they actually are companies in essence. They have people who work for
staff,
etc. And, I'm sure they're all fantastic and they raise money, but I just think a lot can be done without all the bells and whistles. And we're pretty simple. We're lean. And that was also a big attraction for me because I thought that means that that everything you raise is going to
directly to the
source. And so that was probably the biggest factor for me with Second Chance. I thought that's something I can actually is worth giving my time to.
No, I think that's so important, and I like the fact that you recognize that there's so many organizations out there that you've chosen just to do what you can to back those people already that have these like very, very high up organizations that help a lot of people.
So, absolutely. And they are, big organizations, and sometimes you just see the resources. Like we don't do ad campaigns because we can't afford to put stuff. And I like to think that that's, it's just grassroots. It's probably just a very old-fashioned notion of what charity is in that very old-fashioned sense.
Tradition
is quite beautiful. And people like it. There's a humility to it
No, I completely agree. I know, especially with we've had so many things going on this year, Bridge to Brisbane. We've had so many different, we do a lot of charity work at Women's as well. We've had our exec auction where we auction off raffle prizes and stuff, and then we gave that back to, who was it? I can't remember. But yeah, we do a lot of charity work at Women's and it's all very different. Bridge to Brisbane, we have exec auctions, we have a secondhand clothing market where girls can sell their old stuff because we're always selling stuff and we always want to buy new stuff.
It's smart.
So we can sell stuff and then that gets donated. So
really cool.
Lots of different ways to really give back.
Excellent.
I think it's soon. Oh, good. Your stuff goes very quick.
I'll bring some things for sure.
Okay, beautiful. Next question. From your perspective, what are your biggest barriers in helping homeless women in Brisbane/Queensland? And how does the lack of affordable rentals affect the transition of the crisis accommodation to stable housing?
I think that's probably the biggest problem.
Biggest barrier.
The biggest barrier is housing and accommodation. And not just the availability, the stability. Because, often women will need it for a length of time or sometimes they need it for a short amount of time. And there's real problems around that, about the flexibility, like how long can people get in, how long can they stay, are they allowed to stay, do they have to move? So I think, there are very simple things that could be done, I think, to make things easier. One of the things that I think is really interesting about that thing around homelessness is that it inevitably crosses over into domestic violence. And I think we are dealing with two things at the same time, and it's always really tricky because it's a knock-on effect of all of these things. So it's about how do you treat the thing at the core, and how do you do that? So one of the things we've been investigating is how to work with, because so much of the domestic violence sphere is around coercive control. And the use of tracking devices. So we've been working with a very small little organization who I won't name necessarily, but what they do is, in essence, you can take all your devices, your car to them, and they will scan everything to see if you have devices.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, because it's the number one thing that men will perpetrate, in essence. And it's interesting because, we live in this world where, I have it myself. I've got Life 360 for my children.
Yeah.
And they like being on it because we all know everyone is. You know. But people use it as a weapon. And there are so many devices, Apple tags, you name it, like all of it it has changed the way all of that functions.
Yeah.
So something that was quite innocent becomes a weapon.
Yeah.
And so we've been looking at how we can practically support small organizations to do that, to help
get them out of there.
Yeah. What an awful thought. Right?
Yeah. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah. So they can literally take your phone and see if it's got software on it that you didn't know had been put on it.
Yeah.
Check for Apple tags, check for all those things.
Wow.
Disable things on your phone, etc.
Yeah. That's awful. Yeah. All right. So most uni and college students aren't directly confronted with issues like homelessness or domestic violence every day. Why do you think it's important for young people to understand and engage with these issues early on?
Yeah, look, so many reasons. I think even since I had my children, I sort of laugh at them because there was the time before I had them when there was no Instagram or social media. And to understand, they understand it too, the escalation of social media in people's lives. I think it makes it very easy to ignore the actual things that are happening on your doorstep. You want people to be aware of social inequality. I think very fundamental things have changed for culture because I think a lot of people, not just young people, I think a lot of people don't subscribe to newspapers or watch the news anymore. I think they just don't. And they're receiving it via social media. But as we know, unless you're on the right algorithm,
it's very
you're
false.
Not going to get any of that. You're not going to get any of that content at all. And weirdly, one of I think the biggest moments for my kids was, you would remember that Hannah Clark, who was murdered in Brisbane, in a very strange and terrible coincidence, her mother was our dental technician.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember driving home and hearing it on the news and hearing the name and thinking something about that rings a bell, and turning on the news and thinking, oh my God, that's Sue's daughter. Like, it was just so remarkable. And I think it was that first moment for my young teenage girls who suddenly had a recognition that it happens to people it is happening all the time. So to answer your question, I don't really know how you tell the stories, how you keep it alive for young women, so that they understand that even in 2025,
it can happen to anybody.
It can happen to anybody. Yeah, absolutely. Anyone. And it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, the number of women who are killed every year is just going up.
Yeah.
And I don't have the answer to that. I just think I worry that as a culture, we've become less empathetic.
Yeah.
And I think that's a natural thing because I think the world's pretty bloody awful.
Yeah.
And, we're faced with daily atrocities.
Yeah.
But, here's the reality. Most people will get more upset about Gaza and Israel than they will about what's actually happening in their own city.
Next door.
And university is a great example of that.
Exactly.
And for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many sad stories on both sides of that debate. I mean, today is the anniversary, right?
Yeah.
We're actually talking on the anniversary of Hamas invading Israel.
Yeah.
So this has been going on for some time.
For years, yeah.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that is that probably if you asked more university students, they would have an opinion about Gaza and Israel.
Oh, 100%.
But I doubt they're going to have an opinion on. And that's not their fault necessarily. It's again how social media and how
It's a lot to do with the algorithm
it
and
is.
what is being
Absolutely.
pushed for
Absolutely.
your view. Yeah.
What you are seeing.
Yeah.
What you are seeing. And I can see how that is all consuming. And so that most of us don't see what's happening in our own neighborhood.
No.
We just don't see it.
Yeah, that's it.
So I think it's a long-winded answer to your question. But I think that as young women, we just have to remember that we are our sister's keeper, right? We have to look after one.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think, especially living at Women's, we have 250 girls that we just live with, and then we have like 100 associates. All of those girls come from completely different backgrounds, and I think it's very important to make those friends and to understand that everyone's on a different path in life. And some people have had a very lucky life, some people have not at all and been very disadvantaged, but we are all in the same place at the same time to better our lives. And I think it's very important to learn that empathy.
Oh, absolutely.
And understand
the
other
whole
people.
legacy of Women's is, this college started as a place where women could have an education. It's
Yes,
one.
exactly.
Like, that's an incredible legacy.
Yeah.
So all of you now are part of that, which is so special.
Yeah.
It's so special. And those things, I think, will become more and more important as the world goes on. When you are a mother, when you are a grandmother, you will reflect on being part of that legacy. Because as you said, very few of you will get that chance.
Exactly.
Very few. And how lucky.
Yeah.
How lucky.
Yeah. And I know that you give a lot back to the college as well.
Well, I try to.
Yeah.
I'd like to, be able to do more. But I do feel very fortunate to have been able to attend. So it's great to be able to help raise monies for scholarships so that girls can, because it's expensive. Yeah. But best money spent, I think.
Yeah. I've paid my whole 3 years and it's been the best money I've ever spent.
Good for you. I mean, good for you. And I think that's really smart of you to understand the investment in yourself. Yeah. It can seem on paper, why would I spend that money? But you know how much it pays back. Yeah.
Oh, it's fully paid back with the lessons I've learned and the friends I've made and the connections I've made even. Like, it's furthered my life more than I ever thought I could.
It will into the future. I mean, I'm 52. Yeah. And I'm still going to Women.
Yeah.
But it's really great because I think how extraordinary, because there aren't many times in life, the minute you leave school, a lot of connections stop. Yeah. For a lot of people.
Exactly, yeah.
There is no more structure around anything.
Yeah.
And Women's is that beautiful kind of stopgap of a moment where you're supported to educate yourself. Yeah. In a very safe environment. To actually focus on you as a young woman. Yeah. And once, as you have said yourself, you're feeling anxious about leaving. Yeah. But I can tell you, you will always be welcome back. Yeah. And that's so remarkable.
It's very special.
Very few times in your life that will ever, ever, ever happen.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it'll always be my home.
It will.
Yeah. That's it. All right. Perfect. Next question. A lot of our listeners are students and they might be thinking, I don't have the money to donate or I barely have time to volunteer. From your perspective, what are small but meaningful ways students can still support organisations like the Second Chance?
I think probably the biggest way is to make yourself aware.
Yeah.
And to talk about it with your young friends, because we recognise students don't have money to give. Yeah. But, sometimes just reading an article, showing up or sharing that article, sharing something that you've learned or recommending, it to a friend. Yeah. That's how you can be proactive. Yeah. We forget that sometimes we know the biggest tool is to have knowledge. Yeah. Like knowledge is power. Yeah. So I think for young people, don't feel anxious about money. I mean, I have not been in a position to be able to be a donor until I've been, middle of my life. Yeah. And that's how it should be. But you can, and when you get to that point in your life, to be a donor or be philanthropic, it can start with the smallest amount of money, $5. That's it. Yeah. That's the cost of a coffee.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
So there are ways to do it, but I don't want young people to feel anxious about it.
Yeah.
But honestly, making yourselves aware is the number one thing. I
Yeah.
think knowing what's happening in your own city.
Mm.
And it's easy to not know because, like I said,
We're caught up in this whirlwind of,
Yeah.
being young.
Exactly.
And we literally do get our news from TikTok, and most of the time it's from very irreputable sources.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of us actually, as much as we try to, we actually don't know a lot that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah. And, I've often said to young people who ask me about, certainly in that cultural sphere, but I always say you can't really be a great writer if you're not reading a lot.
Yeah.
You need to read a lot and read widely. And if you can't afford to subscribe to newspapers, go to the library and read them.
Yeah.
Read widely. Read many different sources, as you said, of reputable outlets.
Yeah.
And then you will become a better human just by sharing ideas, being open to ideas and thinking. I think that's big. And maybe it can be as simple as one of you gets a subscription to one thing, one of you gets it to another, and you share those resources. There's ways to do that. Like the New York Times is such a great paper. I read it. It allows me to gift articles to people. I'm always doing that, sending my kids things saying you should read this.
Yeah.
It's a good article, read it.
Yeah.
And I think those are the very small ways. Just make yourself aware. Don't live in it.
No, exactly. No, I think that's very important, especially during this time in our lives, being young women and students. We're starting to have serious relationships with people, especially around the domestic violence conversation. I don't even know the stats these days, but I know they're very high. And the thing is, it could happen to anybody, and you never think it's going to be you until you're brainwashed into being this person.
Exactly.
And then you're stuck.
Most young people will know about abortion rights in America. They won't know what's happening in Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
They won't know about what young girls and women are going through in their own country, but they'll know more about America and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. We need to fix that.
Yeah.
Because you can choose what you look at.
Yeah.
We have to do that.
Yeah.
We have to choose what we want to read, more so now than ever, because we are living in a very scary time in the world, and you have to make choices, good choices about what you decide to engage in.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who follows a lot of on Instagram and TikTok, but again, I choose my sources, like, so I am reading the Washington Post and reading Kathy Horan and the New York Times because I want to get good commentary on those things. So you have to be, all of us make astute choices. Yeah. And I think it's terrible. And I know I'm very addicted to my phone. I'm very addicted to my phone. So I know I have to put structures around it about what I choose to look.
Yeah. I think it's very important to make sure, because we do see that content all the time, making sure it doesn't consume our brain and our thinking. Yeah.
I think it will. I mean, we know it. We already know it. It will have ended up changing the entire structure of human brains.
Yeah.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah. And that's a lot.
Yes. That's another issue for another day. Yes. All right. Perfect. I think we've already touched on this, but I'll just put it out there anyway. Yeah. I love the idea of that no act is too small. Can you share an example of something seemingly small, whether it's raising awareness, showing up, or lending a skill that's made a big difference at Second Chance?
Yeah, actually, I can. It is very small things, incredibly small. So, we've got this big Second Chance lunch coming up. We do a big one every year. Yeah. We're very lucky. Trent Dalton is a really good friend of Second Chance, and he's been incredibly lovely to us and supported us with his time. So he's our special guest at our lunch. We have this one example of like a megastar who'll come and talk about his new novel, and we're very lucky. And we just have to pick up the phone. He says, "I'm there, I'm doing it." Because he has experienced the same thing. He's experienced domestic violence and homelessness as a young boy. Yeah. So he understands it. But then some of the very small acts, we've had people, like one lady who makes lampshades, and that sounds like such a silly thing, but she makes the most beautiful lampshades of Marimekko, and it's a skill that she has. And she gave us all these lampshades, and we sold them all at lunch, and they're beautiful. And little things. Somebody made us this most beautiful quilt. Yeah. And we were able to raffle that It's very little things, small acts.
That's exactly it.
We will have sometimes students come along and play music at the lunch. Now, that's so lovely.
Yeah.
This, we had this beautiful young guitarist come and play. Like, how gorgeous to have this 14-year-old boy playing music. That's a gift.
Yeah.
That's a generous gift.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Exactly. I think almost sometimes we forget the act of giving money is also not the act of giving time and giving your creativity is also just as important as that sometimes. Absolutely. Especially for those people that want to give back. Yeah. Like me. Maybe I've got $80 in my bank account.
No, do not give to it.
No. Exactly. And I think
a lot, there's often this saying, charity begins at home.
Yeah.
And I think that term has been quite misused a lot because I think that we are now a me generation. It's like, what do I get? What do I get out of this? I need to get most out of this scenario.
Yeah.
And inevitably that makes for a mean kind of generation where we're like, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine.
Yeah.
So this notion of charity begins at home is about how you think about how you support your community. It's not about your immediate home. It's about how you support your community. And sometimes that is just turning on. It's just
giving time.
Help and saying, I can't afford to give money, but I think what you're doing is really great.
Yeah.
I don't know, donating a little time. Like we have people who come and sell raffle tickets for us at lunch.
Yeah.
And that's giving you time.
Yeah.
Selling your raffle ticket is giving you time.
Yeah. Time is money.
Time is money. 100%.
Exactly.
And we value that.
No, that's beautiful. I love that. All right. Today's been awesome. So I always wrap up the end of my podcast with something a bit more lighthearted and upbeat. It's a segment that I call Laughs, Lessons and Lasting Advice, where I invite my guests to share a little bit of everything from a funny story, maybe from college, and a valuable lesson. And of course, some lasting advice that'll leave all of our listeners with a takeaway that sticks.
Yeah, gosh, a funny story, man. If you get me started on that, golly, I don't know if I can think of a funny story. I'm gonna have to come back to that question.
Yeah.
I think my lasting piece of advice is, I think it's one I've had to learn again and again and again.
Yeah.
Like, you will lose your mojo. I've lost my mojo many times.
Yeah.
And I've just thought, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing it. I mean, I've been freelance now for since my middle daughter was before she was born. So that's 18 years.
Yeah.
Which means I work for myself. And I've had the experience of both working for museums and galleries, working for somebody, and then working completely independently.
Yeah.
So I've seen both sides of that.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy financial security, but I also very much like working for myself and being able to choose. So I guess what I have learned is that you will lose your mojo many times in life, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
And I know we talk about this a lot about imposter syndrome. I think it's very real. And I know women feel it a lot.
Yeah.
And I've had to really pull myself up in the last year and say, you know what? You've achieved a lot. I actually never allow myself time to think of all the things that I've achieved or I've done. I don't. I just keep going. So I think there's two things in that. I think it's good to remember who you are, but never get too ahead of yourself. You just have to always be on that path of learning, doing, being better than the person that you were. If you rest on your laurels and think, I'm pretty great.
Yeah.
That's not going to get you anywhere.
No.
And so I think it's good to lose your mojo because it makes you sharpen your focus a little bit, and it's good to sometimes not know what you're doing. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of contemporary culture and a lot of stuff that you read on social media, sort of little sayings about you're a good person, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wow, I just think that's kind of so empty, like that kind of empty thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think it really helps you to think about what you could be or who you could be or, who you should be. I think the real key to being a human being is not, it's not about happiness. It's not like personal happiness. If you're seeking that, I personally think that's a mistake. I think that happiness comes when you're doing things that are good. Yeah. When you are trying to be part of community, society, to be engaged. Yeah. And probably the best I've ever felt is when I've been a bit scared. Yeah. A bit scared. Yeah. And It's good to be scared. It's good to think I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to have a crack.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice to young people.
No, I love that. Yeah.
Is to don't be scared, because you won't often know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But that's really good, because all the most interesting creative people, the ones who've changed the world, are the ones who are risk takers.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get anywhere if you just sit in the same place.
Exactly.
So
no, that's beautiful. I love that.
I mean, that's a bit scary, but it's okay to lose your mojo. Don't be scared.
No,
it's a natural order of things.
Yeah.
To second guess yourself.
No,
You should always second guess yourself.
exactly. I think that is really gonna. I think our viewers are really going to take that on board, because I know even sitting across from you now, I told you we have our AGM this weekend, and this time last year I was so scared to go for it. I'd never done anything like this in my life. Speaking into a microphone, it's not my thing at all, but I think even just pushing yourself to be uncomfortable in those positions, you learn a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to be a little bit scared in life.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, that's awesome. All right. Do you have any laughs that you can share with us? I know.
I'm trying to think of a
college days.
Yes, I do remember just like an absolute freedom I felt at women's that I didn't realize at the time.
Yeah.
But just silliness. The things that I remember like are hilarious things. Like right now, my kids are really into watching Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah.
But my memory is of watching Twin Peaks in the Frida Beige common room before formal dinner. So we would all be in our robes watching Twin Peaks on a television that was honestly about the size of your laptop.
Yeah.
Like a small one. And of course, when you watch Twin Peaks, then you had to watch it one episode a week, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So everyone was like, that's the episode. And you could hear a pin drop or everybody watching it. So that's my sort of, I just laugh about that, just thinking about how innocent that was. It was so innocent.
Yeah.
We're just babies watching this thing. But isn't it incredible to think? There's two things about that. I think how amazing that this thing that somebody made so long ago still has such cultural
relevance.
Relevance. A whole new audience is finding that.
Yeah.
So that's my one other bit of advice. Like how remarkable to think that you can make something that resonates into the future.
Yeah.
And you know, so much of like TikTok and social media is instant and gone. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's actually a waste of time.
Yeah.
When you compare it to something like, you know, just really good books or movies, that's really where it's at.
Yeah.
So
that's really good. I love that. Also,
it's not really a laugh, except that you have to picture me.
No, I love
would have
that.
been hilarious. Because God was.
No, I love that. Like me and my friends last night, we just like spontaneously, there's a new show on Netflix, Monsters, and we were just like, let's watch it. It's a horror series.
Gee.
And we were just like, oh, let's watch it. Why not? And we were just shit scared. And yeah, we were all sitting there just absolutely shitting ourselves. And I think I looked around and I was like, oh goodness, like these are the best times of my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always remember that, because anyone that I went to uni with at Women's College all remembers Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
This is hilarious. Before we used to go to COB to formal dinner, we'd go to the Frida Beige Lounge and we would get a little shot of sherry.
No way.
Yeah, so that was the thing. You had sherry before dinner.
That's really cool.
I know, it was really nice.
Yeah.
Like there was a formality to it. That's one of the things I love about women's, actually. I think that is lovely.
Yeah.
There's something really lovely about the order of that and how it works, and the idea of doing that is just so beautiful to wear academic gown. Like how special.
I know. We have formal dinners every fortnight now.
And
it's just like so lovely. We've got our cultural one coming up this week. Yeah. So it's really nice. We all get to sit with each other, have a glass of wine, and we feel like adults because
and you know, I remember people who weren't at women's in the time that I was were like, wow, that's sad.
Yeah.
There's something very beautiful and old fashioned about that, because it's just saying, just take a moment and stop.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. I've really enjoyed our podcast. No, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Beautiful. I'm excited to welcome